Finnair has now officially rolled out its brand new interiors and service concept, including the famous non-reclining business class seat to a handful of routes. We'll have a video about that coming up next week, but while you wait, and for the sake of comparison, here's a look at Finnair's older business class offering. This one, which I recorded in March of this year, is still what you'll get on the majority of Finnair flights. So, is their previous generation business class any good? Join me on this flight from Stockholm to Miami to find out. Today is a really fun flight because we're taking Finnair's new long-haul service out of Stockholm for the first time. So bypassing Helsinki, they've established a little base out of Stockholm to take people mostly to leisure destinations, Miami, Los Angeles, also New York, Phuket, Bangkok. I've heard that there's not many people on these flights. Let's see how it is this time. Their fares are very low, so I think they're selling it that way so far, what tickets they are selling. But hopefully they're here to stay because it's really nice to have extra competition, extra options at Stockholm. So I'm gonna go get on the flight now. Let's see how it is, and we'll see you on board. This cabin may be a few years old already, and it's not the most sumptuous interior you've ever seen. I've heard it called overly sterile, too much gray, and yet I find it to be just great. It's a very calming, relaxing cabin. There's not a lot of flashy design features or color combinations to get tired looking at. And the thing is, it's not all just grays and sterile surfaces. Look a little closer and there's plenty to feast your eyes on in the soft product. The Iittala glassware, the Marimekko prints on things like amenity kits, and so on. Oh, and I love that they provide slippers, and they actually look really good in gray. That's something you'll find on many Asian flights, but not so much on transatlantic. In fact, is there any other airline between Europe and the US that offers slippers? If you know of one, let me know in the comments. And hey, if you're feeling in need of visual stimulation, you can just look out the window at that glorious A350 engine and wing. I mean, seriously, is there any better view than this?
Lift the metal button, your face mask, before securing the oxygen mask over your nose and mouth. While on board, please stay in your assigned seat and avoid movement in the cabin as much as possible.
Okay, so right off the bat they have SAS beat because they hand out actual menus. I will say the food options are pretty limited though. There's only 2 choices of main dish. If it'll save me €1,000 on a business class ticket, then fine, I'll take 1 or 2 fewer options for dinner, but it's worth mentioning. On the other hand, they have a great selection of signature drinks, things I would never find elsewhere. Blueberry gin and tonic, how could I say no to that? Do the blueberries actually influence the flavor much? No. Does it matter? Not really. Just look at that. And then there's the famous blueberry juice. Again, just great. It's something that really makes Finnair memorable, and I know I'm not alone in thinking that. In fact, with these Iittala glasses and all the blueberry-related options and others, the drinking on board is a consistently appealing experience. Finnair is actually introducing new glassware as part of its cabin refresh. Now don't get worried, they're also keeping these Iittala Ultima Thule glasses. But how will the new Finnair glassware stack up? Can anything else ever be this iconic? Okay, so let's move on to dinner. I have the chicken with aubergine, mushrooms, and rice, and it is tasty, but it's just too small. I was still hungry after this. On the plus side, the dessert is good too, and the coffee as well, especially in this Marimekko mug, and I appreciate the little chocolates they hand out. I supplement the meal with some spicy cup noodle. I'm glad these are offered, but you shouldn't really have to be doing that directly after the meal service, right? And flight attendants do come around with a snack basket or to check on drinks fairly regularly. It's nice that flight attendants are present and don't just disappear into the galley. That's not something I can say for all of Finnair's competitors. You may already know I don't tend to watch the entertainment offerings much on flights. If anything, I'll bring my own. But Finnair's selection looks okay. I'm relieved to find they have 2 seasons of Moomin Valley, as I know you will be too. There is Wi-Fi, a bit slower than expected, but it works. There's also power in various forms. As with most airline-provided headphones, I find these pretty uncomfortable and they don't really cancel noise. I'll stick with my Bose as usual, but I mostly stare out the window and watch the map and tail camera. First, we get some views of Greenland, though there's some cloud cover. But the real treat comes as we approach the east coast of Canada. This is the Labrador coast, and well, just have a look. I'm really enjoying this actually. A nice cup of tea and some more chocolates, wearing these comfy slippers and just kicking back. Of course, this flight is extra relaxing because it's almost completely empty. That's not great for Finnair, but it is good for us being able to go around and get plenty of shots of the cabin. The seat and shell itself is a relatively basic version of the reverse herringbone seat. That said, it has most of what you need, though it's a little more compact than some others, and there's not a huge amount of storage. I can imagine if you're over 6 foot, or about 182 centimeters, you might feel a little wedged in. But for me, at 178 centimeters or 5'10", I fit pretty well. It's also plenty private, though I would note that after about 7 hours or so, the seat starts to feel a little hard. That may be because it's just getting a bit old and has lost some of the padding. So the new seats are coming in at the right time in that case. But I would have happily kept booking Finnair tickets even if they'd stuck with this cabin for a while longer. It does everything you really need it to do, and it's a very pleasant place to spend several hours. Toward the end of the flight, there's a light meal of avocado pasta with pine nuts. One option only. Again, it's tasty, but I'm still a bit hungry, and I kind of wish there'd been a second option. Overall, I love what Finnair does with design. It makes up for areas where they don't do quite as well, such as the food. I've always had very friendly service with them as well. It's a shame that some aspects of the product feel very premium while others are somewhat less so. For me, I think it does beat SAS long haul, at least in terms of what they're offering at the moment, but not by as much as it could. That lead could be about to widen though, with the new cabins and service offering. These look very nice indeed, but will they live up to the hype? Stay tuned for next week's video where, barring any equipment swaps, I'll be testing it out on the Stockholm to JFK run on the freshly reconfigured A330. Until then, happy flying. In Miami, for Flight Radar 24, I'm Gabriel Lee.